What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon Kindle and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below, as usual. This video is entitled, Did We Coddle Our Women? And this is going to be the opposite of, when the lady said it's strong and independent and we have to do this because the men won't do it and the men aren't building. I want to take the other approach right now and say, I think our community coddled our women too much. Because when you overprotect somebody and you shelter them from reality, they have a warped sense of reality. Like it's on a curve. So when somebody actually has a issue and it's very pressing, the person who's overprotected's issue pales in comparison. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times our women have been allowed to get away with so much from children to adulthood that they can't really deal with consequences. And only people who've been coddled can't deal with consequences. Same goes for when you deal with people. Some of our women and women in general are emotional and they cry. But there's this bipolar thing where I'm angry and I run you, and then if life, when the principles of life don't follow that, you break down and cry. And that's not a person who actually has dealt with life. That's a person who's been coddled. Now, I made a video about us as men needing to raise our standards. And I think part of us not having standards or having low standards or expectations of our women help coddle them. Because if you listen to some of our sisters long enough, everything is acceptable. We'll take anything. Bad attitude is acceptable. And if we say, I don't want the bad attitude, it's a problem because it doesn't equate to, nobody wants to deal with that. Weight is unacceptable, but you're going to deal with it. It's like, okay, that's not how life works. Being a team player, we ain't got to do that. Okay. And, the same thing with being strong, independent, not needing a man. And that's a mantra. That's like an old mantra, I must say. But whether it's a conscious thing for some and a subconscious thing for others. And the thing about that is, no matter which side you land on, our women expect at the end of the day for a man to come along and fix it all. That's their expectation. And you have to be coddled to believe that you can tell people that you don't want them around and you can handle it all on your own and then get upset that they're not there. That's like you living in a warped sense or a different reality, like something's off. And the reason why you can have that kind of mindset is because though they say the men aren't there and men haven't protected and men haven't provided, for the most part, men have been there, protected, and provided. I can make the argument that when we're talking about men who protect and provide and put women in a good position, you only count the men that you're dating. If you didn't date the guy, his contribution to protecting and providing for you really doesn't equate in your mind. And I think other groups of women understand that all these guys count. Your family counts. Your cousins, your uncles, your father, they all count. The guys that were just your friends, they count. Like, they've helped a lot of you ladies get through things that you. The reason I say you're coddled is because if you dig into some people's history, you find out that there were guys helping them along the way, whether they related to them or not. But just like a spoiled child, they'll just say that they did it on their own. And when you get to meet people and you learn about them, you realize, no, they didn't. They just said they did. I said this a long time ago in one of my videos, and it's part of the coddling. When I was in college, I had a job. I had a couple of jobs, but one of these jobs I worked with some women, some young women. And this young lady was very aggressive towards the men. And one day we had a conversation, and I was sitting there talking to her, and I was like, what is your issue? And she's like, look, y'all can't tell me nothing, because when I was a kid, I beat up boys. And he's like, you beat up boys when you was a kid, so she tells me the story. She was a kid, she got in a fight with a boy beat her up. Her dad took her to find the boy. And she beat the boy up. And I laughed, and she's like, what are you laughing at? I said, did you never look back on that fight, did you? And the women and the guys who we were having this conversation as a group, they knew where this was headed. And she's like, no, I never looked back. I said, so you didn't pay attention to your dad staring at that little boy like, if you touch my daughter, I'm going to break your neck. So all them licks that you thought was just all your power and your skill, and you was Ali, and they gave you the confidence from the 5th grade on to a senior in college that you could beat a man up, didn't equate to the reason that you won that fight because dad was standing like this. And the little boy was like, damn, I can't hit her. And I use that story as an analogy to say some of our women have been coddled to that degree where, and it's not just the men, it's the other women, in the community also, that all of these mantras of our women come with a support system, what did you call it? I was about to say a cavalcade, whatever. I forgot what. Just a lot of help, They get a lot of help because what happens is a cavalry. That's what I was looking for. A cavalry of help. Because when the women say, oh, I run, how can I say this? I'm an independent mother. I'm a single mother, but grandma don't count. Your sisters don't count. Your cousins don't count. Your brother don't count. You know what I'm saying? And you walk around saying this, the child's father don't count. Like everybody you just did it on your own. You went to college, you graduated on your own. Nobody else counts. Not the people that helped you study. Some of the people y'all cheated off of. Some of the professors who let some of y'all slide and just gave you a grade that you didn't deserve. None of those people counts. You just did it on your own. And you go into the real world with this, I did it all on my own mentality. And what winds up happening is, as an adult, it's time to show and prove. And what happens is, I see a lot of our women as adults have a hard time navigating society if they can't use their sexuality and they try to use their mind and the strength that they said they had. I'm intelligent and I'm strong and I can do all this. Then there's a big gap where the incompetence piles up. The mistakes pile up, but that's part of the reason I say, have they been coddled? Because in our community, our women's mistakes they seem not to exist. Somebody's always covering the mistakes. And when you cover people's mistakes, you overprotect them from the consequences of their mistakes, and sometimes you make them believe that their mistakes aren't really mistakes. You know, it's all in God's plan. But see, God ain't the one that's fixing all of these mistakes. These are other people in your lives. And then you go out into the world and you say what the men haven't done and what the men can't do. And even so with the women, like, it's even the men's fault that the women aren't feminine. And that's what I mean by being coddled and overprotected. Like when certain narratives go on to a point that they're ridiculous, kind of like when people make jokes about the root memes and stories. You know you have to be protected. You know, we talk about white privilege, but there's black women privilege too. Our women have, because there's no way that all of these things, and I see this time and time again, where our women are expected to handle their business like an adult. And that stresses them out. And that breaks them down. And they wish that they could just have somebody handle it for them. Now, if you want, if you want somebody to handle everything for you, because that means that's what you've been accustomed to. Because people who've been strong and independent aren't accustomed to people doing things for them. They don't even get tired with doing things for themselves. But our women seem, you know, everything, and it even goes to the point where when you're expected to do something for somebody else, it's a problem. It's a blow up. It's met with resistance and animosity. And to me, that's because at the end of the day, you know, our women have been coddled to the point where they don't even think they're supposed to work in life in general. And we always take it as the lack from the men, but if you talk to any man and he dealt with a woman and she felt like he needed to make improvements in life, and he made those improvements, and BGS talked about this too. When he makes those improvements and he says, okay, well, those are my improvements, I need you to make these improvements. Then it's met with, it's an insult, because self-improvement isn't a thing that our women are accustomed to doing. And the only way you can't get accustomed to that if somebody has been doing the heavy lifting for you for a long time, where you don't think you have to improve, because it's always somebody else's job to come along and fix it. So, you know, I figure like let's see how this one works. Like, if people think about it that way. Peace.